Okay, this recording's really kind of hard to make because I'm not sure whether I really want to do it. Like, part of me says, yes, do it because it's important. And then another part of me says, no, this isn't a good idea. You know, you're compromising your life and those around you, and it's just not something that should be publicly discussed. But after talking with a friend a week ago regarding just different things that have been going on in my life as of late, he had urged me to make a recording and discuss some of these things, even if I'm going to do it with anonymity, and do it in a way that I'm, voicing different issues that are going on in the entertainment industry, in the media, just in life in general, within the power structure. That's really strange for a girl of my situation to be involved in, and it's really hard to talk about because it's not like I'm out of this situation, because I'm not, and I don't want to compromise myself, my personal life, my relationship, his professional and personal life, other people that aren't culpable in this situation. I'm not the type of person that wants something bad to happen to anybody. So I think when I sat down and decided, okay, maybe this would be a good thing, maybe my story could help somebody else that may be going through the same thing, I decided like there's going to be clear boundaries in that. And a lot of things are going to be vague. A lot of things I'm not going to discuss further than what I feel comfortable discussing. And I'm not really going to label people or put names to it just because simply, I mean, people say, well, then, like, why are you doing it at all? Well, because what I am willing to say and able to say, that bit of information may help somebody or may open other people's eyes to what's going on, and I think that's more important than blowing up a person's name, and making it a big media spectacle, because it really it can be twisted, it can be distorted, it could be a lot of things, and I just don't want to do that. And simply I don't want to compromise my own safety and my own privacy. So, starting off with what I'm just gonna give you like a clear background of myself. Um, I grew up in a middle class, large family, pretty close knit. I grew up in a small town, and it was a good experience of the environment that I was in. For the most part, there were a couple childhood traumas that I had when I was younger, not at the fault of my parents, but they did happen, and I'll touch on that later because it really didn't become like a source of problem. Well, I'm not gonna say that. That's ridiculous to say. I don't even know what I'm trying to say right now. It didn't make its head like until I was older. And I'll explain that later. Because when you're young, you don't really understand things, and you don't. I mean, like, oh, okay, this is making me sad, this is hurting me, or this isn't, making me feel good, and stuff. But you don't really understand the whole big picture until you get older, and it can affect you in a way that can really just stop you in your tracks. I'll get to that later, though. But yeah, I grew up in a large family. My parents were very loving parents, and I enjoyed being their child. Um, you know, um, we were middle class. Not to say that, there wasn't some prominence in my family, because there was, but further back away from my family, like we had a president, in our family and other things like that. But as far as our wealth and the way we lived, we were middle class, from a small town, and we did our thing. So I grew up in a small town. When I was a teen, I became a model, as my mother had when she was a teen. Um, I took direction from her, and kind of like, when I was young, I used to look at all these beautiful photos of my mother when she was younger and be like, wow, I wish I could do that someday. And so when I was old enough to make that decision to want to do it, she let me get into modeling, and I got picked up by an agency in New York City. Um, I went to New York City a lot, at I had a lot of campaigns that I was working on. I worked with many different designers and different advertisements and things like that. I was, yeah, I would have to say, I did very successfully at what I was doing as a teen model. There was a circumstance that kind of changed my view of what I was doing. I ended up having a really bad experience in modeling. There was a designer, he was in his mid-30s, and he took a liking to me. And I was very young and naive. I didn't know any better. I wasn't interested in him in any way other than friendship. And in the very beginning, it was friendship. And it wasn't strange to me because I always felt like I was like an old soul. And I had befriended many adults, even older than him in my lifetime. And I worked in an industry where, yeah, there's other girls that are your age, Molly, and stuff like that. But the people that handle you, the people, who you work with on a daily basis are adults. Even though you are still a child, you're still making adult-like business decisions as to your brand, the jobs that you take on, the things that you do. So, I was very mature for my age. So when I became friends with him, I didn't really look at it as anything then, just positive in my life. And at the time, he seemed like he was going through some things. He had some health issues, he had some family issues, and he just seemed like maybe he wasn't the happiest in his life. So we used to talk, personally. He'd sometimes call me. I remember I went to, like a sort of like a crafty type Hallmark store one day and had picked up this plaque that had a inspirational quote on it and sent it to him around Christmas time just to like lift his spirits because I knew he was going through a lot of stuff. And, everything seemed cool. Well, somewhere along the line, he began having different feelings towards me that weren't right for a 30-some-year-old man that's a designer, in the fashion industry to have towards a teen girl who's naive and just starting out in the industry and doesn't really know, which end is up. And the calls became more frequent and they took a different turn. They weren't just, everyday talks about where I see myself in 10 years and the next creative outlet that he wants to pursue or anything like that. It became him trying to pursue me in a sexual relationship. And after a few calls came about like that, he made me feel really uncomfortable. I didn't reciprocate in any way. I went to my mom and I said, this is what's going on. I feel really uncomfortable. I don't know what to do. I know I have to tell you, obviously, but I don't know what it is I'm supposed to be doing about this. And I'm really kind of scared because I don't want to lose my job. I don't, this big, art meets fashion show is coming up and I'm supposed to be working with him and I don't want to lose that job because I'm very excited about it and proud that I got the position to be in that, but at the same time I feel really uncomfortable and I don't want this man bothering me like this anymore. So of course she did what any mother would do. She got very angry. She got scared herself. She contacted, the proper channels and was like, this is what this guy is doing. This is not good and you're going to make it stop. And of course, they did, because they didn't want to get in any type of trouble. And he was let go from his position. And that brought on this bigger obsession that he had with me. It was really crazy at this point. Got to the point where, FBI had to be involved. And he continually pushed it. He either had friends or himself. I don't know which one. If it was himself that was very, sophisticated in technology or whether he was having somebody else do it, but he was able to, make calls. They had put a tap on my phone at the time. This is back in the 90s. And they put a tap on my phone and, I was supposed, every time he had called, I was supposed to call an 800 number and, like, say the date and time and what he had said. And then at the end of the month, they were going to trace every call that he was making because he had moved away. And, they were untraceable calls. Like, it was like they said like computer bouncing or something like that. I was young at the time, so I don't really remember exactly how they described it. But basically, it was untraceable calls, and they couldn't really pin him to it. And then they finally were able to when he had started sending me photos of mutilated animals in the mail. That was pretty much where they were like, okay, yeah, this guy is really, yeah. So they ended up finding him. They had gone into his home with a warrant, and it was so weird because I was so young, and at the time I remember like being told that there was like street fighting gear in his closet, and that he had all these kind of like weird knives under his mattress, like he was about to go to war with somebody. And he had pictures of not only me but other girls in the agency too, posted on the wall, and he had carved like weird sayings into the pictures, like gang bang, whore, just like terrible things to be saying about any woman, let alone a young girl. And then he had like a hit list, and I was at the very top of the list. So they were pretty scared. He ended up being arrested, the whole shebang, and obviously was punished for his behavior. That right there, being as I was as young as I was and naive and not really experiencing anything like that before, kind of made me fear a lot more things within the industry. And yeah, I mean, it turned me off. I felt like, and then it opened my eyes to a lot of things. I started watching how things, were progressing, how they treated different girls, how they basically were trying to pull out this sexual tone on a lot of girls that really shouldn't have been in a situation to be sexual at all. And it was weird. Sorry. I'm a smoker, so I just like that. So yes, okay. So I started, I really love the industry in which I worked in. I've always been a creative person, and I wanted to continue, but I wanted to go in a different direction. I was more interested in behind the scenes. So when I got old enough to be able to do those things, I went in that direction. Still working in the fashion industry, but working behind the scenes. I'm not gonna say what, but working behind the scenes. And I became very successful in that endeavor. And I also pursued music. I had started playing the piano when I was 4. I started playing the guitar when I was a tween. I took vocal lessons. At 19, I cut my first demo. And at the time, when I was 19, it was, right at the time when Britney Spears was coming up and Christina Aguilera, everything like that. The pop industry was really, booming, and I was interested in doing that. That's what I want to do, recording artist. I loved it. I used to write, and it was my thing. At the time, I really couldn't succeed in the industry because right at that time it was very strange because pop was, dominating the scene, and that was the avenue I was going in, kind of. It was more of a bluesy, jazzy type pop, which really wasn't being heard at that time. But the thing was, even if I could change over and become the perfect pop princess, their whole attitude in the industry at the time was, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. If you look like Britney Spears or you seem like you're going to be that type of brand, we don't want you because we already have that and we're capitalizing off of that right now, and we're not that interested in, putting the promotional money and everything into you at the moment because we have that being thrown into these people. And then if you weren't that, then they didn't want you also because that was what was hot at the time. So you were kind of like damned if you do, damned if you don't. Like, you're very pretty, we love your sound, we're going to keep you on file, but right now we're just not interested. And I felt really robbed of like that because I'm like, man, I really love music. Like, this is my passion, and it's just something that I really want to pursue. And I feel like I can't because these people that are successful right now are just making it so you can only if you're that person, and if you're not, then we also don't want you. It was just really a sad time in my life. So I kind of put music on hold for a while because I wasn't feeling much creativity or anything at that time, and I started not having the passion that I had just because there was no inspiration out there with the way I was being treated. So I continued on working in fashion and continued successfully working in fashion in New York City. And still to this day. I also went back to music. I'm going to be working on an album release date sometime in the summer, I believe. But I'll get into that later. That's not really the point. But just to explain, like, kind of where I come from, my interests, my professional career, what I see every day. This is who I am. And, as I got older, working in fashion and being around entertainment within the music industry, I became, friends with lots of different types of people. I kept my friends that I was really close to growing up. I met a lot of people in fashion from networking and, working on different jobs and gigs with them. From that, met a lot of people in entertainment, started hanging out. So my whole circle was quite, mixed. I started dating some men that were high profile in the entertainment industry, some within film, some within music. I'm not going to really get into who they are and what they are because it really doesn't matter at this point. But yeah, I mean, I dated some very successful men. Some were A-list, some weren't. And those relationships faltered for numerous reasons. Some because they were narcissistic morons that only cared about themselves and needed attention 24/7 and wanted you to basically be their mom and tell them everything they did was just amazing, even when it wasn't, because everybody around them does that. So they can't hear no, and they can't hear it's not good, or else they're out, they're out the door, or they're cheating on you because they need that attention from somebody. So yeah, I went through that, and then I had a couple successful relationships that just ended over time because it grew different. We grew as people, and we just weren't the same person, or logistically it wasn't working out with our careers. They had moved to a different area. I was busy, just lots of things. So yeah, so gone through that whole thing, and last year I had a breakup. I was dating a professional dancer at the time, and me and him broke up. And I was just actually really happy we broke up because it was towards the end it wasn't good. So I was single for a while. One of my girlfriends, my good friends, her fiance, she's a model. She works in the industry, and her fiance, he's he's in the social scene. He works in film. He dabbles in film, like, in his personal time, really. He comes from an extremely wealthy European family, and yeah, he's here in New York City. And yeah, we were at a loft party one night that they were hosting, and I don't know, I'd been drinking, talking to my friends, and saying how boring it sometimes is being single and lonely sometimes. But that I was okay with it because I had different personal circumstances in my life right now that made it difficult to date. I'm not going to discuss those really too much because I don't want to really, I don't really want to make myself known. I don't want to be like, this is my name, come look me up, So I'm not going to pinpoint everything about my life so that, certain people listening to this that may know who I am, they're like, ah, that is her. But, I had different certain circumstances in my life, from previous relationships, or just things in my life that made it kind of difficult to date here and there. But, I just wanted to, get to know somebody again, see what happens, get back out on the dating scene a little bit. And my friend's fiance said, I have the perfect friend for you. I think you guys get along so well. And I had wanted to, hook you guys up a long time ago, but you had things going on, and you were back and forth, blah, blah, blah. And now that you're completely single, and you've been single for a bit, and you're, ready to focus on whatever, like, I think you guys should meet at some point. He didn't really tell me anything else other than that. That was just kind of like the entire conversation. I was just like, okay, yeah. Because he tried setting me up with guys before, and let's just say they weren't my type. And so I was like, no, thank you. Oh, I just like to be polite. I'm a very humble person, so I was like, oh, wow, that sounds really great. Well, I'll let you know, sort of just leave it open like that, but kind of like let them know, okay, I'm not really that interested. I just don't want to be an asshole and say I'm not. But, the night progressed, and all of a sudden, I was out on the balcony having a cigarette, because I'm a smoker, and he came out, he had his cell phone up to his ear, and all of a sudden he just walked up to me really fast, and he put the phone up to my ear and goes, here, it's a friend I wanted to introduce you to, say hi. And I'm like, what? And so I started talking to this guy. I had no idea who he was at first. Actually, I started having this feeling that he was somebody, but he wasn't who I thought he was. I was like, oh my god, like, are you serious? Because the person I was thinking it was, I would in no way have any type of attraction to or interest in, and would be way too young for me. And I'm just like, wow, no, that's not gonna work. So I kind of got this vibe that it was this person I thought it was, and I'm like, okay, yeah, alright, well, I gotta go, just trying to get off the phone. But then I realized it wasn't who I was talking to. And I like the British accent. I was like, oh, yeah, okay, it's kind of okay, because that's like something that I find attractive. I've always enjoyed that accent. So, yeah, we started talking. I realized he wasn't this douche that I thought he was. He was a totally different person. And we exchanged numbers, we exchanged emails. It just so happened at the time, his profession where he was working kept him away from like his home. He was away a lot, just basically. And so it wasn't like he could, hop a plane and have some like international, date with me that next week or anything. So we kind of came to the realization, okay, we're gonna be like pen pals maybe. And right off the bat, our personalities really kind of meshed together well. We both like have a dry sense of humor and like a witty sense of humor, and find really demented things funny. Like, we wouldn't laugh at them in public, obviously, because we would look really weird, but just like behind closed doors, we're like, ha, that's funny. Oh my god, it's probably not funny, but we find it funny. Yeah, so we got along like really well. I was attracted to him physically. I thought he was a sweetheart, and he just seemed like a really good guy. But, at the time, he's far away working, doing his thing, which he can't get away from. I'm doing my thing. I don't know when I'm ever gonna meet you, so let's just agree to be friends, and that's like a cool connection to have. Now we're friends. And so we did that, and I started dating again. And it was weird because in between when I started dating again and when we met, we had started sending emails back and forth to each other. And it was like almost immediately we were admitting things to each other that we really wouldn't probably say to somebody that we were trying to date. You ever have like those moments where you're like, oh, I became really good friends with this person, and now I'm attracted to them and kind of interested in them, but I told them way too much stuff, and I don't even think they'd like me now. So that was kind of like the feeling, and I know it was mutual because I think we felt like we're probably not going to meet. Like, I'm in this area of my life and I can't get away right now, and she's here and she's doing that, and like maybe I feel safe in saying this stuff to her that I wouldn't necessarily say to a girl I was trying to hook up with. And we were kind of each other's therapy. I know we said that a lot because we had a lot of things in common. As much as we don't have in common, which is quite a bit, the things that we did have in common were just really strong. So, alright, so we went through this whole thing, and we were telling each other things that we normally wouldn't tell the other person, and everything seemed great. And then I started dating casually, and he didn't like that. And because right away there was like a pang of jealousy in the emails. He started getting short with me. He started making these little kind of jab comments, and then he just started saying things like, I wish I was there and I had taken you out, too bad, things like that. And then he was just like, talking about other things, and I don't know, it was weird. We started getting this jealousy towards each other's situation. And he just flat out one day said, like, I'm really jealous of this guy you're going out with tonight. I like you. I think that something's here. I don't know what, but I'd like to pursue it and see what happens, because I don't want to be like 10 years from now, be like, this girl is really into her, and I never pursued it, and I never knew what happened there. It's gonna mess me up. And I agreed. So we decided, okay, as soon as you get back from your your work and you go back home and everything's settled in and you're done, um, maybe you come over for like a week and visit. And so that was the plan. The conversation then started getting a little bit like emotional. Like he'd be like, I miss you. You know, I really wish I was there. I wish you could snuggle up with me at night. It was very sweet, and I felt a lot of comfort in that. And it was weird because for the first time I was getting to know somebody before jumping into this thing. Because I'm one of those people that love love. I do. I love love, and I easily fall in love. Not to say I've fallen in love a lot of times, because I haven't, but I've had a few very, very long-term relationships. But it was easy to fall in love with this guy. Very easy. The things that weren't so easy was his background. He came from an extremely wealthy, powerful family over there in Britain, and his lifestyle was very different from mine. Um, and it was just, there was different things involved that just, off the bat, we were like, okay, we're obviously, there wasn't really a future there, you know what I mean? But we liked each other so much. We do like, I don't want to say like past tense, but we liked each other so much that we were willing to just say, fuck it, and try to pursue it. I wasn't sure how I felt about that because of this situation. He was, you know, globally well known in the media spotlight. He has things going on. I'm not exactly the type of person that would be proper to dating him. And it was a situation where I felt very scared and intimidated. I didn't really understand why we were even talking. I understood how we started talking, but I didn't really get the full picture at the time. But I just knew, like, this guy, whatever happens, is a huge, he's made a huge impact in my life in a way that hasn't with many others. Alright, sorry, I had a call. So, that's how it started off. Because of his situation and mine, and him being like off the bat, like, look, you know, we don't want to date, publicly go out on a date, because that's not going to be good for anybody involved. So let's, like, you know, plan something together, and I'm going to come into town, and, you know, we're going to stay somewhere that I'm going to, you know, lease for a week, and like a short-term rental, and we're just going to chill. I'm not going to stay at a hotel, we're just going to chill. So I was like, okay, this is totally gonna work. And then we went through the whole thing of like, is this like, are we supposed to like have sex? Like, what is gonna happen? You know what I mean? Because we've been talking for so long, so it's like way past the emotional standing of a first date. So you're like, well, is this like, what's happening? I mean, am I staying overnight with him or like what? And he was just like, you know, I mean, that would be great, but I'm not pressuring you, and don't feel like you have to do anything that you don't want to do. We'll just get together and go out, you know, just hang out for a little bit together, do something. Sorry, I'm a busy person with lots of calls. But anyways, you know, so yeah, I mean, that was going on, and so he came, and we hung out, and we were just, it was instant. It was really something. I can't explain it. We just got along so well. You know, you're like kind of worried because there's always those people that are kind of like fake. They're like a totally different person when you meet them than what they were before you met them, and you're just like, wow, I don't even know who you are. Nothing. It was the exact same. We were just like, okay, you were totally chill, and you were honest with me, and we're still in the same predicament, you know. And we just had a really great week, really really great week. We became extremely close. We just realized this is something I want to pursue, and we knew it was kind of crazy to even think about pursuing it. But at that time, nothing mattered. It was just like the heart wants what it wants, and that's what's gonna happen. So we started this thing with no labels, um, and it was great. And I'm gonna pick up in a little bit to continue on about how this whole thing is about to go very rogue very quick.